Perfect. Okay, students, welcome back to our second class for today. So this is computer applications in mining, and we are discussing this one of the methods for simulation that is called finite element method. So before this, we have seen what are the other methods of simulation, like we have been aware of limit equilibrium method, right? We have compared some modeling techniques, like we have done arithmetic modeling where we calculated results manually. Equilibrium modeling that we actually did in limit equilibrium method, where the forces were in equilibrium in case the stability is there, right? And then we compared how a finite element method works. How is it different from a limit equilibrium method in terms of slope stability? How versatile the whole method is? And we just started that, so we'll be continuing that today. And I hope today also, this one also, I will take a short class. Sorry. So after this class, we'll have some discussions. If any questions are there till that, whatever we have learned till now, anything that we have not understood, anything that is not done, or any general discussions we can have. Okay, so we'll start the class, and we'll discuss those things later then. Excuse me. So, like last time we were seeing how these three kind of models are very different from each other. We have been aware of the two kinds, the arithmetic model and the equilibrium model. And what is the numerical model? Numerical model basically defines anything that is based on certain physical equations, like suppose a heat flow condition, water flow, or a fluid flow condition, or a structural problem that has stresses and strains involved, like in our slope stability case. It can be electrical flow condition. It can be anything that any physical phenomena that is actually represented by equations can be converted into numerical models. So numerical model will basically combine two things. One is the physical geometry of a material, and the second is the numerical equations which define any physical phenomena that is happening in that geometry. So if we have water flowing through a tube, the physical model that will be there, that will be basically have a tube and some water inside, while the numerical model will basically be some equations of the flow equations, like Bernoulli's equations will be there or something like that, pressure equation of that. So any phenomena that can be defined with help of these equations, or can be turned into a numerical model. Now that's the beauty of finite element, is that all kinds of processes can be done. So last time we discussed that what are the various comparisons in finite element, and we saw how while LEM and FEM we can use both for slope stability analysis also. uh, LEM is quite restricted to that aspect of slope stability analysis, because that's how the software is designed. While finite element method is a versatile method, as we discussed, it can simulate anything that can be defined in terms of equations, any physical phenomena. And there is hardly any restriction to geometry. There are some restrictions, but there is hardly, as compared to the limit equilibrium method, it is not at all restricted. Limit equilibrium method, we had to actually define it is a slope, what kind of slope it is, which direction it is oriented, and so on. For limit equilibrium, for finite element method, it is not basically looking for slopes. So it is generally calculating whatever we wanted to calculate. So in terms of slope stability also, if we are considering a slope stability analysis, it will actually calculate the various stresses and strains at each and every point of this geometry and find out what is its value. And based on that, the strain that are developed, the critical strain that are there, the thresholds of those critical strains that are there, on the basis of that, it decides of which is the most susceptible plane of failure. Will the slope be stable or not, and so on, right? So we'll be coming to those when we also do some practical work in for phase software that we'll be using to start with the finite element modeling. So, and after that, we will be doing some 3D analysis of different methods of finite element modeling, like using ANSYS or something. Okay. So this we discussed, and apart from that, most types of partial differential equations can be used in this model, a finite element model. Also, these are not directly calculating factor of safety, as I said, because these are not looking for any slope stability condition. These are basically looking for whatever physical phenomena we are simulating. So on the basis of that, there are different methods of calculating factor of safety. So we will also discuss those later on. So in general, how a finite element method works, we saw that it basically divides geometry into various nodes. So here we discussed an example of how a pillar stability was being judged, and we saw how even the small pillar was basically divided into various mesh sort of structure, basically dividing it into nodes and elements. So there can be various kinds of distributions that are done. So for each of these nodes, the actual calculations takes place, and anything that is in between these nodes, the elements, for all those elements, the interpolation of the results is done. Now, interpolation of the results can be done on various methods. We'll also discuss the methods that they are called in finite element language. They are called the basis functions. So we'll discuss that later on. But yeah, the basic of finite element, as the name suggests, it basically divides the whole geometry into finite elements, and that's how basically it takes each element as its own entity with all the starting conditions and all the ending conditions as we would have done for a complete geometry itself. So in that way, it calculates all the values for each of these nodes, and between these nodes, whatever elements are there, the values of these elements can be interpolated. So we also saw what are the different kinds of elements that we can use. We saw there are one-dimensional element like a beam kind of material is there if we want to simulate a beam or something, a single wire or something like that, where we just want to see the linear direction of flow and we want to simulate that. We can use linear one-dimensional elements. Two-dimensional elements, we break our geometry into triangles or rectangles, parallelograms, and so on. And even with the same number of elements, we can increase the number of nodes so that the accuracy increases. The only thing we also remember is as we increase the number of nodes, or we are increasing the places where the calculations are done. As the number of calculation increases, that the corresponding amount of load is given to our computer. So suppose you have a 10 by 10, 10 into 10 centimeters of a box sort of, and you want to divide it into 1 centimeter each node, 1 centimeter each element. So you basically have 100, like 10 into 10, 100 elements, right? Uh, Dividing it further, so basically 100 elements will be calculated based on their nodes. And if you even divide further, there will be correspondingly increase in uh, how many calculations are to be done. So in that way, the load on computer increases. What we have to do is we have to maintain a balance between how much accuracy we need and how much our computer can sustain. So in big models, like you simulate dump slope or even haul roads or even bigger stuff, uh, the number of nodes can go up to like thousands or if not lakhs. So that time, when so many calculations are to be done, it takes a lot of time if the processor is not good. So that's where we basically have to make certain assumptions, like increasing the mesh density only at the locations that it is required to be, or basically using different kind of mesh structures that have less number of nodes and so on. So different things can be done. And in terms of 3D as well, till now we were discussing 2D, so 3D also, tetrahedral elements are there, pyramidal and hexahedral or cubical elements or cuboidal elements can be there. And these also can be in the second order. Second order elements basically have non-linear edges. So the advantage of non-linear edges is it sometimes it sometimes is very good to basically represent a curved sort of geometry. So if we have a circle, it will be better to basically use the second order elements so that the curved shape can be better represented. Otherwise, uh, the approximations may have different results as compared to this. So, uh, depending on what kind of simulations we are doing, we use different kind of order elements. But how the calculations are done? So, basic calculations are done on three things. One is called the governing equation. If you see, this is the governing. One thing is governing equation. Second thing is the boundary condition, and the third thing is the basis function. Do remember these three parts. These three are the things that will define uh, the basically metadata of a problem. So suppose in this lower problem we have this bar. So this bar basically is a metal bar, and what is there is this is the heat source. So this one is the heat source, and heat source basically is it is applying heat, and what we have to find is how much heat will be at the other end and how it will be distributed throughout. So how will we do this? A simple approach will be just to find out what is the temperature here, what is the temperature here, and use the heat transfer equation, right? Uh, this is simple in case of a simpler geometry like this, like a single cuboid, or maybe just a rectangular geometry. But it becomes difficult when it is a very complex geometry. So how we do, we basically first see which are the steps involved, what are the conditions. So we see that we have certain boundary conditions, uh, like this phase will be maintained at temperature T1. That is one boundary condition. These are insulators on the other side, so no heat is passing through. This is another boundary condition, right? So there is no heat that is passing through here. So basically, in terms of whatever geometrical edges are there, we basically find out what is the condition at each of these edges first. And then we have to find out our output place, what will be. Apart from boundary condition, we have the governing equation as well. So for this case of governing equation, we can have like Ka T hot, T cold, and delta T, and divided by D. So basically, what basically it says is the difference between the temperature is one factor, the length is the one factor, area is one factor, right? So the amount of heat that will be transferred from this point to any point on this slab, say, will be governed by this equation, governed by the boundary condition, right? And on the basis of that, we can actually find out what is the end result here. In finite element, what we do is, because we are not sure what kind of geometry is, so we basically divide it into many sections. So this is called the discretization and meshing. So basically we discretize our full geometry into different sections based on what kind of geometry it is. So here we have taken this rectangular sections because we are seeing that geometry is something on those lines, right? And what boundary conditions does is basically boundary conditions tells us that the Q transfer from to this edge is 0. The Q that goes this edge, the heat transfer is 0, right? So for each element, you can say in place of treating it as a one big slab, we are treating it basically as on element basis. So on element basis, if we see, we have a rectangle, right? And we have a certain T1 here. We will have certain T2 here, and we need to see what is the Q that is going, and by the conservation of energy or the conservation of heat, the Q that is going inside uh, is equals to the Q that is going outside, right? Unless it is a heat sink or a heat absorbing material. So on the basis of that, basically for each element, we can find what are the values, and for each of those, these nodes will have a particular value of what will be the temperature or how much heat will be reaching this point and so on. So for each of these nodes, we will have certain values based on the governing equation and the boundary condition, because we have been given the initial boundary condition and we have been given the governing equation, right? So in this way, from one to other, we can ultimately reach to the edge and we can find the our desired result. But that's not the whole point, right? So the whole point is how the heat is distributed, how the temperature varies from T1 to this, and the related visualization. So if we just have values at these nodes, we will just have three colors, right? Here will be something, if we suppose this is like, uh, if this is 50 degrees and this is suppose uh, 20 degrees. So this will be here somewhere, it will be like 40 degrees, it will be 30 degrees. And there will be just three variations and three sets uh, of variations. And that doesn't make any sense, like this can be done easily, right? So how do we define what will happen in this underlying zone is something called interpolation, or the approximation of these results. And that is based on the terminology that finite element method uses is called basis functions. So basis functions basically define how the calculations will be done in between elements. So suppose for this element, let me take another color. So suppose in this element, here is a 40 degree and here is 30 degree, right? And we have to find what is the temperature here. So it can be a linear increase, right? If we want to basically linearly see how much it will be in terms of linear distance, it can be like 35 degrees, right? or it can be a different functions based on what kind of material it is, what kind of distribution is happening, and so on. So that how that is decided is something called a basis function. So in this case, uh, the basis function you see is basically linear functions between 1 and 2 nodes. So a linear increase from 0 to 1 is there. If you can see node 1 and node 2, there is just a linear separation. So directly we can have a linear relationship between that. But this can be quite different also. It can have a exponential decreasing value as well. It can have a quadratic value as well. So on the basis of that, we basically can calculate linearly in 2 dimensions as well as in 3 dimensions. So ultimately what will happen is we will have a full scale uh, visualization of how the heat is being transferred from one place to another. So this is a very simple example of how finite element can work, how calculations are done, uh, how the approximations are done, and what are the basic components of a simple finite element analysis, right? The equations that governs the physical phenomena, the boundary conditions for that physical phenomena, and the approximation condition for that physical phenomena, right? And how we divide the geometry. So basically discretization meshing. So these four basically conditions or the processes that we go through, these are the basis of finite element method. So for any kind of analysis, we follow all these things. If we go for a slope stability analysis also, so we will have to define a slope, we will have to discretize into different meshes, we'll have to give boundary conditions. So boundary conditions in that case will be like this material doesn't flow in right direction, or this is a base, so it won't fail from here. And there can be boundary conditions like weight is basically increasing, gravity is a boundary condition, stresses are there, and so on, right? And the governing will be the stress strain equation, that elastic modulus equals to stress over strain, right? Uh, and those equations and the equation of elasticity, stress matrix, and so on, those will be defining how the material will behave under stresses, right? So in a structural analysis, that is there. In fluid dynamics, as I said, there will be flow equations and so on. So the whole concept of finite element method is we divide, we give the boundary conditions, we use the governing equation to find the values at the nodes of these divisions, and we interpolate the result in between using basis functions. So that's the step-by-step process for a simple finite element analysis, or even the complex finite element analysis, based on what kind of calculations we are doing. Okay, so we'll stop here. I think, yeah, we'll stop here. And as we did for the last time, we are open to any discussions that you possibly have today or last few classes, all classes that we had. Finite element method, we will be now approaching to how we do it in our conditions, like slope conditions or underground pillar conditions, the stability of props, chocks, and so on. Then we will be moving to ventilation simulation, so how the fluid movement is simulated using finite element, right? That we'll be doing in computer applications only. And we'll also be seeing if possible, we'll also see 3-dimensional simulations using ANSYS, because ANSYS software license we have in our institute, so that will be helpful. But let's see how much can be done. That will cover in this module of simulations. Once we are done with the finite element modeling, which may take another 1 or 2 weeks, we'll move on to further things like artificial intelligence, neural networks, and so on. So that will use MATLAB as well. So that's a later thing. Yes. So any questions, any doubts, any comments till now? I'll close the class today here and we'll leave for just discussions for the remaining time. Yes, please, anyone. कोई बता सकता है हम लोगों ने क्या क्या पढ़ा अभी तक till now what we have studied? Anyone can volunteer to do that? What we have studied till now, anyone can just quickly elaborate. So if anyone feels or remembers any doubts, they can ask. कोई doubts नहीं है computer application subject में till now? That is very well, very heartening to see. तो कोई समराइज करना चाहेगा अभी तक क्या पढ़ा? श्रीकर इज देयर? श्रीकर, please explain again. Nitesh is asking, please explain again the basis functions. So what basis functions are basically, if in okay, so this is understood, right, that we divide the geometry into nodes and meshes, right, and basically we have elements and their nodes, right? So all the calculations are done for the values at the node. So if this is a T1 and suppose the last one is T2, basically we will have some, like for example 20 and 50, if the delta T is there, then 40 and 30 will be values at these nodes. Now how do we calculate any value in between in one dimension or any value in between these? What will be the basis of that? Like how we approximate? So the easiest way can be that we average it out, right? So agar, if the distance is d, so the gradient between this will be 40 minus 30 by d, right? Suppose 1 centimeter है अगर ये distance, if this distance is 1 centimeter, so the gradient basically of heat gradient is 10 degrees per centimeter, right? So in the agar linear hai, if linear decreases there, then it's very easy that we just calculate how much distance it is from here, and we just multiply it by 10 degrees per centimeter and we find the result, right? However, it's not necessary कि ऐसा ही हो. Like for every condition, Nitesh, for every condition there are different basis functions. So यहाँ पे जो basis function use करा है, that is linear. Like if you see at the base, what it's saying is these are various nodes. So suppose node 1, node 2, node 3 and node 4 are there. So similarly they have given node 1, node 2, node 3 and node 4 and so on, just for example. And for interpolating values at each node, they have given a factor of 0 to 1. So basically it's a linear interpolation between these. So a factor of 0 and 1 is divided into the whole length. So similarly we were doing that. ऐसा भी हो सकता है, the condition can be that between these two nodes, suppose node 0, node 1, node 2, node 3 and so on, it can be a division can be something on the exponential line. So at first point it is 1 and then last point it is 0. So in that case 1 पे जो value होगी, अब अगर linear होता तो it would have been like this, right? So the value at the first node will be quite different from the value that will have in this case, right? So this, what the value will be in between non-node condition, the elements basically, यहाँ पे क्या value होगी, 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 and so on, will be decided based on these functions, basis functions. So that's the whole concept behind basis function. How we interpolate the values that we obtained by direct calculations to the values that will be in between. So अब क्वेश्चन ये आता है कि हम लोग हर पॉइंट का क्यों नहीं कैलकुलेट कर लेते बाय दिस इक्वेशन, राइट? ये तो आसान है, इट कैन बी बेसिकली कैलकुलेट एवरी पॉइंट लाइक दिस. द प्रॉब्लम हैपेंस व्हेन complexity increases. यहाँ पे तो we have hardly like 4 into 3 12 elements and correspondingly less nodes, right? Only 16 nodes, right? नहीं, 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 20 nodes and 16 elements, 12 elements. So complexity is very less. But imagine calculating for each point, like how many points you can make in a material. For each point you calculate, suppose 1,000 times the same results has to be calculated for each point. So the calculation basically takes a lot of time for each calculating each event. यहाँ पे तो it is quite easy कि यहाँ पे और कोई condition नहीं है that no heat transfer is there. There can be heat transfer. The geometry can be very complex and so on. So that's why in finite element basically only nodes are calculated for the actual value, and anything that is not node, that is means elemental values. Basically elemental values are calculated based on any functions that are there. How we decide these functions? These functions are decided based on what kind of geometry is there. ठीक है, एक होता है ये, एक होता है what kind of physical work we are doing, like suppose यहाँ पे heat transfer का केस है. कई जगह जैसे हम लोग what we will be discussing will be structural cases, right? क्योंकि उसमें stress strain होगा. तो सबके सभी उसमें सभी टाइप की एनालिसिस में different type of basis functions are used. General basis function is this linear basis function, जिसमें इस तरीके का calculations होते हैं. Another basis function can be non-linear or second degree, third degree basis function, polynomial basis function और logarithmic basis function हो सकता है, बहुत तरीके के हो सकते हैं. So that again depends on what kind of analysis we are doing. So based on those basis function, we calculate the values in the between the elements कि यहाँ क्या है, यहाँ क्या है, and so on. Nitesh, did that answer your question? Did that clarify?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Anyone else? Anything from today, from before lectures? Any doubts? किसी को कोई डाउट ही नहीं आता है. How nice my class is. I think you will all score good marks in exams, है ना? या पढ़ के नहीं आए हो आज कुछ? पढ़ लो टाइम निकाल के. कंप्यूटर एप्लीकेशंस में देखो, many things are conceptual and many things are practical, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने काफ़ी सारे demonstrations भी किए हैं. We have learned few things. So in class test what will happen is conceptually आएगा mostly. Any calculations are there वो भी आ सकते हैं, but mostly conceptual रखेंगे. So do have a look at these videos that you have done. Do have a look at what notes you have made. क्या concept है behind all these methods? क्यों हम देख रहे हैं? What is difference between limit equilibrium and finite element, for example? ऐसा करके mostly क्या करेंगे? In our tests we will be trying to keep MCQs only. We'll try. लेकिन अगर नहीं हो पाता है तो we'll keep some short answers. बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं करेंगे. It will be on this platform only, Microsoft Teams. अभी हम लोगों को we have to set that up. So that will be easy. but if you know the concepts, that will be much more helpful. uh, and in computer applications, because we don't have much of the practical way to basically take any practicals and all, क्योंकि यहाँ पे होते then we could have, but uh, the questions will be limited to what are the methods, what are the details of these methods, where they are applicable, what are some examples, and so on, right? तो जो जो पढ़ा है उसको एक बार देखो. uh, कुछ ऐसा लगता है जो कि क्लियर नहीं है, we may give some examples of algorithms, right? Flowcharts and algorithms के, तो उसमें we can have something like कि इस maybe some questions like कि इस तरीके के we want to do this, and what will be the correct algorithm. So we may have like 4 options or something like that, or flowchart. So, and we also discussed about the mistakes in the flowchart. So we can have some questions like that, कि किस तरीके की mistakes होती हैं, and if this is correct or not. In that is one, and limit equilibrium we will have something, some questions of how what is the concept behind, how the grading is done, and so on. So थोड़ा सा देख लो एक बार what we have done, what we have. So demonstrations, because we can't keep demonstrations as, I mean practicals we can't keep for you as test. So I don't think that will be there. So concepts and key points वही ध्यान रखना, ठीक है? इसके नोट्स बनाते रहो, बिकॉज नोट मेकिंग इज इम्पोर्टेंट. मैं अपनी तरफ से शायद ही नोट्स दूं, बिकॉज आई ऑल्सो एम प्रिपेयरिंग एज यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग. तो नोट्स तो नहीं, मे बी सब लोग रिक्वेस्ट करें तो आई विल प्रेजेंट सम दीज स्लाइड्स, अगर उससे हेल्प मिलती है. बट यू नो माई स्लाइड्स ना, इट्स मोर लाइक ऑल आर फोटोज. तो आई डोंट नो हाउ मच दैट विल बी हेल्पफुल फॉर यू, बिकॉज सब में तो फोटोग्राफ्स ही हैं, ऐसे कुछ. एनीवेज दे दूंगा मैं. आई विल सप्लाई द पीडीएफ्स so that you can use those to revise, but don't rely on that. Try to see videos that we discussed. उसमें क्योंकि बात करते हैं तो more points आते हैं, ज़्यादा समझ में आता है. And also keep making notes. That's more important. ठीक है? What we'll do, if anyone has any questions, we'll wait more. नहीं तो फिर टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करते सबका. अगर नहीं है कोई क्वेश्चंस तो we'll can close today. कल we'll go into more description, more examples of finite element, कैसे actual calculations होती हैं. We may start with the demonstrations also. So for finite element method we will be using something called slide. So अच्छा, चलो ठीक है. If till the time anyone has any question, you can post it or ask. Otherwise what I'll do is बहुत जल्दी से एक phase 2 का demonstration देता हूँ, the finite element based software. I think that will be helpful. So the software that we were using for limit equilibrium method, that was a slide. The software that we will use for finite element method is called Phase. These days it's called RS2 by Rock Science. We have its license, but because I don't have anything to give that license to you, so I have these crack versions of little old versions of the Rock Science. So we'll do that in this software. It's same almost, but the only difference is that it's some GUI has changed and all. तो थोड़ा दिखने में वो ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है. ये भी अच्छा ही लगता है. Anyways, so this software is based on finite element method. इसमें क्या करते हैं, in place of just making a slope, we can actually do many things like we can make slopes, we can make tunnels, we can do other geotechnical stuff in this software. So this software more is designed for our use only, for mining engineers and similar applications. But for general finite element analysis, we'll also be using something called ANSYS, like which is a good software. So in three-dimensional analysis, we'll do there. We'll do computational fluid dynamics there. In that, we'll do ventilation simulations there. So that we'll do. So इसमें क्या होता है in phase we also do similar to slide, we add boundaries and excavations and all, but in this it is something like an external and excavation. So we basically give a external boundary, external in the sense that we can make a full like our own external whatever the maximum extent can be there for our work that we give. And what we do is we can make an excavation. So like if we want to make a tunnel, design a tunnel, so we can do that here. It has many functions in that, and we can basically excavate this. So this is this kind of geometry can be for tunnel. It can also have something like a slope. So in the case of slope, we directly go with the external like we did in the limit equilibrium. For our slope analysis, we can do the same here, similar to that, and it will basically take it as a slope. Now, the difference in this and previous one was, in this we don't define grids or circles. So इसमें क्या होता है, we basically start with material assignment. So let's whatever material assignment like previously we used to do, we do. And we basically do something called discretization and meshing. So as we saw the finite element, right? So we divide it into elements. So we can basically do discretization. So discretization, as I clicked, it basically divided the slope into various points. And if I connect these points by mesh, basically it does something like this. So basically it divides the whole area into, as we said, finite elements. Now this I can use any type of elements. As we were discussing, we can have 3 noded triangles, we can have 6 noded triangles, and we can have even quadrilaterals. So if we want to divide that, we can do that. And based on what kind of meshing we want to do, it's up to us. And if even we can explore different kinds on the basis of that. So this is way, and what you are seeing on the edges is what we discussed as the boundary conditions. So these, in terms of here, the boundary condition, basically these triangles, these basically say that in X and Y direction, no movement is allowed. If we want to change this, we just can change the restraints basically. So we can free the restraints. So X and Y both are allowed because we want to see what kind of failure will be there. But on these edges, on the boundaries of this, we can basically either keep it like this because the base has to be held at place. So no X and Y direction. And this can be given a Y direction allowance. So restrain in only X direction. So you can see the rulers are there. So rulers basically demonstrate how, represent how it can move in this direction, but not in Y direction, X direction. So X direction is restricted, Y direction is allowed. So this kind of boundary conditions we can give. Boundary conditions can be many more. We can give external load. So as that was, we were doing the previous one as well. So distributed loads can be given, line loads can be given, and so on. We can also give seismic load. So horizontal and vertical seismic loads we can give if there are conditions of blasting and so on, right? And other things are there. We can give supports, we can give groundwater, that all so we can do. But keeping it very simple, we just do we just do the three main things that we did. We did the geometry, we did the discretization and meshing, and we gave the boundary condition. The governing equation for these kind of analysis is already pre-fed in these software. So they already assume that we are doing the structural work. So structural work basically demonstrates stress strain calculation and so on. So that they already know, right? So we'll start with we can just click on compute, and before that we have to basically uh, save these. So let's save this at our original place we are doing tutes. And the calculations are similar to that. And when we interpret, we basically go to a similar kind of interpretation. And it can show various things, how the different stresses are there, so how they are changing, right? Uh, and how the horizontal displacement will be there or will not be there, or how the vertical displacement is there, and so on, total displacement, how things are done. So in this case, what we are seeing is basically it's just settling down. So settling down also, it's into 10 raised to the minus 3. So quite less, but it's just in under gravity, basically it's settling. So there is no sort of failure patterns we are seeing. If it would have been a failure kind of slope, here you could have seen the displacement taking place in a curvilinear fashion, like a circular failure or something. We can give a strength factor, how which of the places have higher strength factor, but that doesn't make sense right now because we are not calculating that. Strains and stresses are something that are more in our requirement right now, and that's all it gives based on its calculations, right? A good thing is um, that we can actually do uh, a stress strain analysis as well as a something called a strength reduction factor analysis. And in our project settings, we go and see the strength reduction. So there is the strength reduction factor is something like it reduces strength one by one. So we'll be discussing all this when we take it up next time. But just to show you guys how things can be done. So basically it is reduces the strength, and there is a tolerance factor beyond which it doesn't reduce. So it reduces and it can basically calculate, but it won't because we have not given elasticity to our model. So uh, when a strength reduction is done, the model should be basically elastic model. So in properties, we define the material and we give some elastic properties. So if you remember, there are some more conditions that are required for this kind of analysis. So in limit equilibrium, we were just seeing unit weight, right? And we were having Poisson's ratio. No, we didn't have Poisson's ratio. We had unit weight, we had cohesion and friction, right? Here we have cohesion and friction. We also need tensile strength for more Coulomb. We need Poisson's ratio and we need Young's modulus. So because right now what kind of analysis is, it's based on stress metrics. So that's why more of the things are required. Plasticity, what it means is basically uh, how it will behave after the elastic zone. So that we can give as residual angles and residual moduluses. We will see all this, but just to see what happens if we oh, what did I do? I think I have made a different material elastic. Okay. Yeah, I have made material 1 elastic. So let's put material 1 here. Okay. And then we can do that. Right. So what it will do is basically it will, if you see, it is this is kind of computation that happens, and it will keep on reducing the strength by this factor till the time basically the material starts failing or the tolerance reaches this limit. So all these calculations are done, and on the basis of that, finally some factor will be there for this slope, after, beyond which the material fails. And in that case, if that is the factor, that strength reduction factor called critical strength reduction factor, that will be its factor of safety. For this case, it is reaching even more than 8 or wherever it reaches. So basically, there are certain number of number of iterations we have kept. If I see in analysis how many iterations we have. Mm, oh, we have 500 iterations. So, so unless and until it reaches either the critical tolerance or it reaches the 500 numbers of iterations, it will keep on doing the same, keep on increasing the SRF and trying to see if it is failing or not. Oh, it is written. Okay, okay. So maximum iterations 500 can be done, and that way. So if I abort it right now, will I be able to see? And okay, let's try that. If I no, so you have to basically compute, and when you do that, so it's whatever we have designed is quite stable. Let's change the properties and see what happens. Okay. Material properties we have given very high, yeah, 10.5 megapascal of cohesion. That's too much. 0.5 and Young's modulus of 20 gigapascals is also very much. So we'll give in 20,000 maybe. And then let's do it. Let's analyze. And if we do it now, अभी भी तो अच्छा खासा चल रहा. Okay.
So still the maximum iteration is 500.
Yeah, I could use that. Let's do that because it will take a lot of time otherwise. Otherwise, actually, I was trying to see if properties change will make it quicker. But anyways, this kind of slope, it is what 15-20 meters, so it is quite stable anyways. But yeah, just to show how things are done, let's do that to 20 and click OK. So still 20 times it has to do. Okay. Mm, no, 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 no. So when we aborted it, I think something will come. Yeah. So when you do strength reduction factor, there is certain critical SRF that comes because right now all iterations converge, though basically it says that it is very stable. But when actual simulations will do, we'll see how there will be certain failure. There will be certain strength reduction factor at which it will basically fail. We'll do those analysis later on, but just I wanted to show, but apparently it's very stable. Uh, so here we can see how the total displacement will change with each reduction in strength. So you can see how the contours are changing, right? And even the stresses and strain, we can see how these things change by uh, changing the strength and how the things move ahead. So these kind of analysis we'll do. We'll see with respect to critical strain how we judge stability, and we'll start that from tomorrow. We'll before doing that we'll cover some basics as well. But yes, so let's close here. Do read, guys, what you have done till now, what you have studied till now. Do read it out. This software is also, I have a crack for this software, so we'll do some demonstrations this week, maybe one or two. And what I will do is I'll give the cracked version to all of you, and you can try it out later on, and we can discuss this later on. Yeah. Okay. Let's close it for now. Thank you very much. If anything
Sir,
else,
will the quiz be on the softwares also? Like, how do we operate it, or something related to it, or
uh,
it will be fully on the like concepts completely?
it will be majorly on concepts. Major part of it will be concepts, but it may have some part related to softwares, but not like कौन सा बटन दबाना है ऐसा कुछ ऐसा नहीं होगा. If anything specific is there कि what process is followed, like suppose in finite element you have uh, a particular set, or in limit equilibrium तुम क्या करते हो पहले, maybe a sequence of operations will be, या फिर कौन कौन से तुम्हारे पास material properties देनी पड़ती हैं, ये सब चीज़ें कुछ ऐसा ही होगा. Simple रहेगा, it will not be difficult, but at least you should know. If you have done, you will know. So you should know all these कि कैसे करा, क्या करा, what will be there. स्पेसिफिक ये नहीं होगा कि क्या बटन दबाया या ऐसा कुछ, तो डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट. ओके. ओके.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ यू फॉर कमिंग. कोई क्लास है आगे? नहीं. ओके. Swati, you gave me your that plan.
No, sir, I forgot. I'll send it today. That day,
Please,
actually,
please.
here it is continuously raining, so I
Oh my God.
completely
Okay.
went out of my mind.
Right, भेज दो. We'll discuss on Wednesday if time permits. Or Pandav is there? Not there. तो उसे भी बोलना पड़ेगा. Anyways, okay.
So I'll tell him.
Yeah, Pavan has sent, right? Pavan, you have sent something today?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll discuss it probably on Wednesday. फिर बात करते हैं. Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Keep safe. Be